Lenovo is aggressively expanding their smartphone portfolio in India. Last year, they've released K3 Note with decent specifications and it was a hit. This year, they've launched K4 Note with great specifications and it's a huge hit. And this is my review for K4 Note. My name is Ravi and welcome to Piece of Tech. The K4 Note is very decently equipped when it comes to specifications. It has a MediaTek MT6753 octa-core processor, clocked at 1.3 GHz, paired with 3 GB of RAM and Mali T720 GPU for graphics. You get 16 GB of onboard storage and a micro SD card slot that supports expansion up to 128 GB. The phone has a 5.5-inch 1920 by 1080 Full HD IPS display with 441 pixels per inch, and it's protected by Gorilla Glass 3 with Theater Max technology. Talking about the aesthetics of this phone measures at 154mm in length, 76mm in width, and 9.3mm thick, and it weighs 158 grams. The phone is very comfortable to hold and it's quite light in weight for a phone of this screen size. It has a curved back that rests on your palm better, and the plastic back with metal rail help you hold the phone without it slipping out of your hands. The metal rail has a matte finish to it with polished edges, and the phone is curved at the edges. I think this is a well-built phone, keeping comfort in mind rather than looks. This phone may not look as wonderful as unibody metal phones, but it's definitely a good-looking phone. The power button and volume rocker are present on the right. They are well raised from the phone and have a good tactile feedback and are easily accessible even if you have an average-sized hand like I do. The back of this phone is removable to give you access to 3300 mAh battery, and Lenovo has promised to release different back covers. Currently, I'm using the black version and the cover smudges very easily. The cover doesn't feel flimsy at all, it doesn't flex when on the phone, and it's quite easy to remove and put it back. Talking about the fingerprint scanner on the back, it is conveniently placed, which does make sense, but you have to pick the phone up to unlock it if you want quick access to the phone without having to use the PIN or password. You cannot register more than 2 fingerprints, which I think is not a big deal, and Lenovo has included some nifty features to perform certain actions when you either tap the fingerprint scanner or press and hold it. The fingerprint scanner worked flawlessly and impressed me with the same speeds as Nexus 5X or Nexus 6P. On the front, you get dual speaker setup that have Dolby Atmos support built in. The speakers are easily one of the best that I have heard, and it's quite surprising how phones that cost more than 30,000 fail to sound like the one on K4 Note that costs 11,000.
No, you've been a good friend. There's a thick and thin, and I know it's never gonna
The vocals are crisp and lively, along with good lows and mids, and they can get really loud in a good way. The speakers also have a bit of a bass effect that is smooth, and the sound did not distort even at 100% volume. Talking about Dolby Atmos, on the app itself, you have different equalizers and different situations where you can actually set the phone to give you surround virtualization or dialogue enhancer or also the volume leveler. When you put your headphones on, it gives you the best listening experience that I've ever heard on a phone for this price range. Now, talking about the screen, the 5.5-inch 1080p IPS panel is bright enough to view it under direct sunlight. The colors look balanced and natural with really good viewing angles. And by the way, it has 178 degrees of viewing angle. And I have no complaints about the screen. Lenovo has introduced Theater Max technology in the K4 Note that has cinematic colors, which enhances your multimedia experience when paired with Dolby Atmos speakers, and I definitely like the combination. Lenovo has also included certain screen modes where you can change the settings to a comfort mode where it reduces the bluish tint which causes stress to your eyes during longer viewing hours. And you also have brightness protection mode where it reduces the brightness drastically for nighttime browsing. Well done Lenovo for putting thought into smaller details in user experience. The resolution is perfect for binging on social media and also multimedia content, and browse web pages without having to zoom in to be able to read the text. And also the text is crisp and readable. Now the call quality on the phone was good, and I didn't have any problem except that the earpiece is a little too loud even at lower volumes, and when at 50%, you can expect everyone around you to listen to both sides of the conversation. The K4 Note does a commendable job at keeping external noises to as minimum as possible with its 3-mic configuration system. Wi-Fi connectivity was constant, and it did manage to hold on to the signal when few other phones were struggling to stay connected. Honorary mention to the Honor 5X. The K4 Note comes with Android Lollipop 5.1 with Vibe UI on top and stays closer to the stock version, except for the icons. The general experience while navigating through the UI was pretty slick and fast, except for a few things like the settings usually took a second or two to load. The apps opened quickly and had no performance issues. There definitely are few bugs that need fixing, like the notification center that sometimes refuses to come down and the transition of apps in the multitasking view. Lenovo has added a lot of handy features like pocket mode, where the ringtone automatically increases in volume when in pocket, and pocket dial prevention mode, and background app management, where you can restrict individual apps from running it in the background. I have mixed reactions about memory management though. Out of 3 GB of RAM, there was about 1.7 GB available even after a lot of apps were open in the background, and the other times I had 1.5 GB of RAM available even with no apps running in the background. But nonetheless, apps usually didn't have to reload themselves even after a lot of apps running. The phone also comes with VR features built in, and it is pretty interesting to see Lenovo incorporate virtual reality technology on budget smartphones such as this. You can also buy an Ant-VR headset that came bundled along with K4 Note for just 500 rupees, and it was fun watching 360-degree videos and regular content on it. Gaming was an okay experience with the virtual reality headset, as I could see individual pixels that didn't seem all that great. Talking about gaming, the MediaTek processor comes paired with Mali T720 graphics unit, and it ran graphic-intensive games with like FIFA 15, Modern Combat, Sniper Fury effortlessly. There were no frame drops or any issues. The touch was responsive and didn't have any freezing issues. The K4 Note is powered by 3300 mAh battery that easily lasts a day with heavy usage. On an average, I got about 4 to 4.5 hours of screen on time, and has lasted longer when I restricted few apps from running in the background that drained the battery rapidly. Standby times too were pretty good, lasting for about 5 days with Wi-Fi connected all the time and all mails and reminders synchronizing in the background. You also have fast charging built in, and you get a 2 ampere charger that charges the phone in 5 minutes for about 0 to 6 to 7%, and it takes about 30 minutes to get to 30%, and 1 hour and 50 minutes or around that time for a 100% charge. On the back, you get a 13 megapixel camera with dual tone flash, and it has ISO cell technology for better low light performance. The camera app was quite minimalistic with not many settings included. When taken in daylight, the photos had good amount of detail, but the colors looked washed out in certain photos, and in the others it tried to keep the colors looking natural, and the contrast was also good. When the HDR mode was turned on, it basically added more light, and that seemed to ruin a good looking picture. It took forever to take a picture in HDR mode. Lenovo has included a camera shortcut where you press the volume down or up button twice, and the camera app opens and quickly takes a picture. The camera suffered a lot during low light conditions, and even in decent lit conditions. The pictures were noisy and didn't have much detail, and HDR only seemed to work so much. And also the camera sometimes had issues focusing under low light conditions. The pictures had a yellowish tint to them when the flash was used under low light. On the front, you get a 5 megapixel camera that seemed to do a good job at taking selfies with good amount of details. I would have preferred a wide angle lens though. However, Lenovo has included a beauty mode where the phone basically smoothens out any blemishes and makes your skin look flawless, and when set to highest level, there is a weird glow and the skin looks extremely unnatural. The K4 Note is a great phone for the price that it comes in, and it definitely is one of the best phones when it comes to performance and price point. I could go on and on about a lot of things and a lot of thoughtful features that Lenovo has added to this phone and how great the phone is. In my opinion, the camera is decent when you take pictures in daylight and not so much under low light conditions. The battery performance is impressive, and Marshmallow update has been promised, and it will make what is already a great phone greater. If you like this review, please give it a thumbs up, else thumbs down. Please leave a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Your support is much appreciated. Take care.